Hey everyone, I'm Leona Nicole Black. This is an extended reading that continues on from the messages I pulled from Tuesday, 25th of September. And it was really about needing to close out a cycle in a love relationship. And I had some questions after the reading, and so I pulled and I want to share it with the collective because I think it's helpful for us to understand. And on the top row, what I was really asking Spirit is like, what does it mean, or how, not even what does it mean, but really what does Spirit have to say to me about feeling connected to an individual person and having a certain amount of conviction or belief that said person is who you're supposed to be with, right? Whether you want to call that soulmate, a twin flame, or whoever else. And then what healing advice do we have about releasing those connections when we believe the above? So let me just get into the reading, it might be helpful. So the first card that came up was the Magician in reverse, and the message really here is that when we hold a really strong belief about any connection, that this person is meant to be our lifelong partner, our soulmate, our twin flame, the person we're supposed to be in, that strong belief actually blocks us. Do you know what I mean? Like the Magician here, this energy really speaks to the possibilities. I can really feel, sorry, I'm pausing because I can feel a truth and I can feel an energy coming like through this reading, but it's really blocking you to the different ways that God's Spirit wants to manifest this. I'm trying not to use spiritual jargon. God's Spirit wants to bring into being this partner for you. And I mean partner is in someone that can walk with you through your life on your journey. And the King of Wands is here really, the teacher that I work with talks about the King of Wands as the twin flame energy or the soulmate energy that exists in the spiritual realm. And for me, over the last few months, the King of Wands has been showing up for me as the how we bring something into being, as in the externalization of the spiritual energy. And I feel like what it's saying here is that the soulmate that we are seeking, the partner that we want to be deeply bonded and connected to, exists as an energy before it does a person. So it's a vibration. Let's say it's source energy, it's spiritual energy. It exists in the heavens above, and at times that energy takes physical form. Okay, so this can be either in the form of a literal incarnation, as in someone can be physically born with a soul and a spirit that has like a similar resonance with you, like someone that you connect with really easily. But it's not just that, it's also that spirit, that energy can enter a person at any point in their lives, like whether they're 30, do you know what I mean, or 50. It's not confined by that. And so basically what the reading is saying is that when you set your intentions upon a specific person, particularly if that person is unable, they may be holding that vibration, right? They may be holding the soulmate energy with you, but if there are blocks, which we would refer to as karma, if there are reasons why in this lifetime, in this current experience, that they're not showing up able to engage in the spiritual journey with you, you do have to release your attachment and belief that it's that person, because you're blocking yourself from having that energy, that spirit come down through someone else. Now, a lot of the times we don't want someone else. Let's keep it 100. Like, you don't want to experience the same connection with another person. You want this person. You've enjoyed the package it's come in. And I don't even mean that superficially. I just mean that you've enjoyed the way it's happened through this particular person, and you don't, in some ways it might even feel like accepting your soulmate in the form of another person is diminishing or devaluing the one that you've connected with now, but it's not true. And the Sun here really is about giving life. It's about expansiveness, it's a major arcana again. So it's about knowing that whatever has died or needs to die and be released in the relationship cycles that you're currently in, they can be reborn. They can come through again. Like the sun drives life in this world, and I always have plants. I've got flowers here, and the petals that are on the table are from yellow roses that have finished their life cycle. But these things, they seed. Flowers seed, and new life is born, and the sun drives life. So I feel like it's saying to you, don't feel like whatever the depth, and I mean it could be extremely deep, whatever the depth of connection that you experience with a particular person, don't feel like that's the only time you'll feel it, or like it's only real in the context of that person. It's not true. There are other soulmate energies that want to come through for you. Now the cards down here is, well, what do you do when you do feel attached to a person, you do feel deeply in love with a specific individual, and you're struggling actually to release them out of your emotional body, out of that emotional field, because you want that thing and you believed that they are your soulmate, your twin flame, your whoever. The answer here really is the Queen of Cups is the first card, and it's about really respecting and giving honor to the love that exists. So it speaks again to the reading I referred to, the September 25th reading, where I say, you don't need to lie to yourself about the connection. You don't need to say, oh, the person never loved me, it was never real. You don't need to tell yourself any of that stuff. It's saying respect the truth, the power of the emotions, the power of the connections that existed, and respect the love that exists within you. Don't try to deny or diminish that. You don't have to not love that person in order to move on. But one of the things that you need to focus on is the loop that it's kept you in. Okay, so this is the 2, the 8, the cycling 2 here, the 2 of Pentacles. And really the message here is that if you're struggling to release a person, if you feel specifically attached to Kahinde or I don't know, whoever, like I'm trying to come up with random names and I'm stumbling. Let's go with Leonie. If you feel attached to that specific person, recognize, in order to release particularly the shame and the guilt and the fear and the confusion that comes with, you know, a lot of your sense of self or your spiritual beliefs can have been built upon the truth of believing in that person and believing in this connection, and releasing that might mean releasing other strongly held beliefs of yours. But it's saying don't be afraid to relinquish that, because holding on to it has actually kept you cycling round and round and round in an energy of like indecision, really. And that you've been split between starting again and keeping what exists, and and it's like you can't move forward and you haven't been able to move forward. So it's saying recognize where you've been trapped as it pertains to releasing that energy. Know that it's trapping you, and that's the motivation for releasing it. But also the 7 of Swords is here, and this is actually about how you feel deceived, let down by spirit. You know, this is like, I'm going to pull a clarifier on this as Spirit's message to you, but this is actually about you feeling like you believed a particular thing, you were on a particular path, you committed to a particular journey, you've been on a particular, I don't know, like you've just been living in a particular truth, and now you feel betrayed, let down, lied to by God herself. And so this card is really here to tell you that that's not true. And it's the Swords card again and again. I keep saying this is an extended reading, so you have to read the first, watch the first one to understand it. But the first one was about not having the right clear insight, not having the correct judgment, being kind of limited in mental perspective. And this card is here to say that the only reason it would seem as though Spirit has betrayed you, let you down, deceived you, led you down the garden path, is because you don't have the fuller understanding here. Now I want to pull some extra cards from, well, I'm going to use 2 decks. Spirit, what's your message in response to this feeling of being deceived? 10 of cards. And the other cards. Spirit, what's your response to this feeling of being deceived? Here we go. Projection, 7 of Cups. Okay. It's a clarifier of what I was saying. Really, the 10 of Cups here is saying that you haven't been deceived. 10 of Cups is the satiety card here in this deck, and it's really saying that what you're being asked to relinquish and release is for the purpose of allowing you to go on the journey towards deeper emotional satisfaction here. towards getting your emotional needs met. And this is Mars in Pisces. So for me, this is moving forward into the soul group. This is, and by the soul group I mean by into the groups of people that you belong to on a heart-based level, the people that you vibe with. So remember that your soulmate isn't just your sexual intimate partner. There are other people with whom you're deeply spiritually aligned with, and this is about the journey towards gaining that group and that community. And yes, intimate sexual love and partnership is a part of that, but it's not the whole picture. Seven of Cups projections here. It really speaks to what I was saying about you not really being able to see the situation clearly because of your emotional investment in it, because of how deeply emotionally ingrained you are with that particular person. But also in this card, the projection exists between the two people. So not only can you not see the situation clearly, but you guys can't see each other clearly. And there is actually a need, like I said, for a coming together, a communication point, in order to resolve the projection energy and to allow both of you to move on with your spiritual path. It's really to clear the karma. You know, I always say that people can develop karmic debt by mistreating you, you know, by just not acting in their highest good in relation to you. But if you stay in a situation with a person and allow them to do that to you, that you are contributing to their karmic debt. You are contributing to creating an imbalance in them that they will have to go forward and amend and make amends for. So there is a need for both of you guys to make amends and release each other to move forward onto a higher path. And so yeah, this is just some clarity for you if you're feeling stuck around your connections with specific individuals and really wanting to move forward but having confusion about you feeling that they're your soulmate or your twin flame or your whoever. I keep saying your whoever. I mean, let's just keep it as your soulmate. Let them go. You know, like, let them go and allow that energy to return to you in the form of the Sun card. Know that Spirit has not deceived you. Know that the love was real. In this context, the love has been real. But there's karma involved, and you need to allow yourself to move forward and not be beholden to someone else's spiritual journey. So just two more cards here, which is about the grief cycle that can be triggered when you attempt to release that partner, that person from your spiritual space. And we've got the Eight of Swords here to begin with, which is the interference card in this deck. And Eight of Swords is really saying that know that the first thing to deal with in your grief state is that the way that you have been thinking or conceptualizing the situation is a block in and of itself, and it's interfering with your forward movement and your progress. So this is why I said in the daily reading for Monday 24th that it's your spiritual practice that's going to bring healing to your heart, particularly your meditation, because the mind is keeping you trapped in cycles of poor decision making, to be honest, and keeping your spirit bound up when it wants to be free. And it's basically because of how we're taught. It's everything we're taught about what love means in this culture. And so what you need is to step back into your spiritual space, step back out of the loops of the mind, and to experience things with your spiritual eyes a bit more, and that will overcome some of the interference and the blocks that you've had in terms of your understanding. And then you've got another swords card here, which is the Seven of Swords, which we've seen before, but in this deck it's the futility card, and this is Moon in Aquarius. And for you guys, it's just that the main thing to deal with as you go through your cycle of grief and releasing of the connection is your hopelessness and your fear that it's futile now, and that receiving love, experiencing love, soulmate energy won't find you again. This is what you really, really, really need to work on and heal with the energy of hopefulness, because Aquarius represents our highest potential in a future sense, and it also represents the collective, the group. And I keep saying to you that the soulmate energy is a group energy, okay? So it's like that one person isn't the only person with whom you can find deep bonded connections with. And you need to find that source of hope from wherever you can, even if it's tiny, that you will be able to receive that partnership, that loving bond, and that real kind of Scorpio intensity again. So don't allow yourself to think everything's futile now and it's all over and you just have to give in, you know, to whatever feelings of isolation and abandonment or rejection you currently have. I know that you just need a higher perspective right now, so release trying to analyze it or assess it from the position of the point of the mind. Okay, so that's your extended message. I'm sending you so much love on your journey. Thank you for listening.